we would rather have a limited amount of locations that are added to our map than, have 10,000s in a certain city where you get that sort of banner blindness where you, after 5 minutes of scrolling through different reviews, you're just, bored to death and you're just like, okay, whatever, I'm just going to pick any place.
Thank you, sir, for doing this interview. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. Likewise, it's a pleasure.
All right, great. So I start every interview with the same two basic questions. The first one being, please tell me your name and what you do.
Absolutely. My name is Gabriel Hattar, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of daGama. My role is essentially to guide the vision, strategy, and the partnerships that allow us to bring daGama to life. But more than titles, I see myself as someone trying to solve a real everyday problem that millions of people face. Can I trust what I read online when I'm deciding where to go eat or stay?
Nice, awesome. That is a big issue. And we'll get into that more in a little bit. But first, just a little more about you. Could you tell me some history about yourself? What was the path that you took to bring you to what you're doing here today?
Absolutely, David. I've been fortunate enough to explore more than 40 countries, and while those trips were unforgettable, they also exposed me to the dark side of online reviews. I can't count how many times I followed glowing ratings only to arrive somewhere and feel misled. One trip that really stuck with me was Cyprus. Instead of using apps and traditional review platforms, I asked a local to mark his favorite food spots on the map, and every single place he recommended was authentic, affordable, and an amazing experience. That's when I realized real people's honest recommendations are priceless, and current platforms don't protect them. That moment essentially planted the seed for daGama. In 2022, I teamed up with like-minded co-founders and we set out to build something different. A global community where trust is built in, fake reviews are filtered out, and people are rewarded for sharing genuine experiences.
Very, very cool. Yeah, it's funny how so many founders I talk to have these kind of like, I would just say like aha moments, or these certain experiences that really kind of place the idea in their mind for what needs to be done. Could you just tell me about? Can you think of any maybe negative experience you had from like reading reviews? Is there anything in particular that comes to your mind? Like, oh, I was in New York and they said this pizza shop was great and it turned out to be terrible, or anything like that?
Well, I think Cyprus was a big aha moment for me, as I've mentioned. There was a place that I was reading about on TripAdvisor, and essentially there was a huge queue outside. You had to get like you have to pre-book tables, etc. And it was supposed to be one of the best seafood restaurants in the area. Me and my friend arrived there, and essentially what happened was like they just brought out like some battered fish, and there was a table next to us. Also in disappointment, and these guys mentioned, "Oh, did you read TripAdvisor also?" And after that, everything clicked. It was basically paid promotions from beginning to the end, and it had no reflection of reality whatsoever.
Oh, wow, that's fascinating. I have had almost exactly the same kind of experiences as you, and I'm sure everybody who's listening has had that as well. I remember one in Thailand in particular that was almost exactly like you said. Long queue, glowing reviews and everything, and then subpar pad thai,
Yeah.
And that must have been in a similar way as what you said. Okay, so let's get into it. daGama, that is the project that you're heading. Let's start kind of on a kind of zoomed out level. What exactly is daGama?
daGama is what we call a real-world locations ecosystem. It's an app where people discover authentic experiences, restaurants, cafes, different attractions, and get rewarded for sharing their own. That's really a short way to put it.
So it's basically like a better, more authentic TripAdvisor. Is that kind of how you would put it? Or maybe a TripAdvisor, or like a recommendation service that actually works, that isn't gamed, that actually provides real good recommendations?
Yeah, absolutely. I think what would be best is if I break down the differences between traditional platforms like TripAdvisor, or in the United States, I know Yelp is a big part of that industry. So what differentiates daGama from Web2 platforms? First, we look at authenticity. Obviously, fake reviews are a huge problem on legacy platforms, and daGama solves that using blockchain verification and our multi-level anti-fake system, making it much harder to manipulate the system. Fair rewards. For example, in Web2, users post reviews for free while platforms monetize ads. And that's why you and I, per se, had disappointing experiences. In daGama, contributions earn daGama tokens. It's a post and earn model that aligns incentives. Then comes personalization. We're aiming to enhance our AI Vasco engine that actually learns your tastes and preferences and curates recommendations for you. It's less about what's most popular and more about what you would genuinely enjoy. More than reviews, daGama, I like to call it a Web 2.5 ecosystem with loyalty programs, local offers, and now we're working on building a business portal for integration with POS terminals. Businesses don't just receive reviews, they can actively engage, reward loyal customers, and gain real insights. In order to sum it up, the key differentiator here is word of mouth. Because at the end of the day, people trust people. And if they know that the standards of the community and our applications are spot on, and they know that they receive what they are looking for, and at the same time, they can get rewarded for genuine recommendations, it's a win-win for everyone. So daGama isn't just an ad-driven review app, it's trust-based, reward-driven ecosystem where users, creators, and businesses can all benefit.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot to process. I'm going to take bits and pieces here, and let's go through some of these things. So first, it sounds to me like, just from listening to you talk, that these Web 2 platforms they're ad driven, right? So in this case, the incentives the incentives aren't aligned with their customers necessarily. Is that correct?
That's a tricky question. I don't
Okay.
really want to, bash the competitors in terms of what their best interest is. I just think that's how the review sort of industry has grown, and that's what we have in today's world right now. So you and I, we could be sitting in completely different places and at the same time simultaneously write a review about a certain place in another continent, although we've never been there, right? And with daGama, we have, first of all, multi-level anti-fake system, and part of that is check-in verification. So in order to leave a review and get rewarded, you have to actually physically do the check-in, which is manual. Because that way, first step is we can ensure that you've actually been to a certain location, whether it's a landmark, a restaurant, cafe, or a hotel or whatnot. So this way, it creates a layer of trust. The second part is you only get rewarded for your reviews only if fellow community members like it. We have certain built-in algorithms that reward you for your recommendation. And if we compare ourselves to traditional Web 2 platforms like TripAdvisor or Yelp or Google Maps, it's more ad driven. What we are trying to build is we're trying to build an ecosystem where businesses benefit from true quality that they offer as part of the service, or quality of food or whatnot, and at the same time our community members can validate reviews and also grow the ecosystem in a way where it's word of mouth, recommendation based. Because as I mentioned before, people trust people, they don't trust what's written online. And with daGama, our main goal is to make sure it's a win-win for everyone. For a business, if you truly invest into the quality of products and services without huge marketing budgets, you can become a top place and people will love you and talk about you. And as the end result, you will gain organic traffic. And for the user, with beautiful UX, UI design, you're able to receive an application that is easy to use and saves you a lot of time and energy in trying to find the right place that matches your mood on a certain day.
Yeah, so I mean, it sounds like this authentication piece is really really crucial to making sure that everybody has a great experience. I have a question about you said that you said something earlier, which was how the about the power of word of mouth, and I was wondering, just as a follow up question, how does daGama kind of emphasize this, or incentivize this, or promote this way of spreading a message, or spreading about good places to go to?
Well, I mean, it's a really good question, but I think it comes down to fair incentives and essential utility. We would rather have a limited amount of locations that are added to our map than have 10,000s in a certain city where you get that sort of banner blindness, where you, after 5 minutes of scrolling through different reviews, you're just bored to death, and you're just like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna pick any place which is like 4.9. But that's not, yet again, that's not really a reflection of reality. So how we incentivize that is by our multi-level anti-fake system that filters out all the content that comes on daGama. We truly value the quality rather than quantity of content. And when people see that they can engage with other fellow community members, their reviews get likes, retweets, they can follow each other for for example, you like a certain person that recommended a certain location in Tokyo, for example. You can follow that person, and you'll be able to see their reviews and what they post in different locations. That creates a level of trust between you two, and the level of trust between community. And that's what I mean by word of mouth, because you will know what we are aiming for in daGama is to create an ecosystem where you as a user and as a business know that all the reviews that pass moderation are only the ones that are visible on daGama, and they're really truly worth visiting. And that's what I mean by word of mouth recommendations. It's creating an ecosystem of friends where you know that everything that you see on the platform is will match the expectation.
Very, very cool. Yeah, I like this phrase, banner blindness. I've never heard it before, but yeah, that aptly describes it. All right, so daGama uses blockchain crypto, and it also uses AI. These are like two very powerful technologies. You've already described it a little bit. Could you give me a little more detail on both of these two technologies? How exactly are you using blockchain crypto, and how exactly are you using AI?
Absolutely. It's true, we do combine both, and that's for good reason. Blockchain brings transparency and trust, and every review has an immutable record, which makes manipulation far more difficult. It ensures accountability and adds a layer of proof that Web2 platforms simply can't provide. Also, crypto enables fair incentives and utility with post to earn. Contributors get rewarded with daGama tokens. Those tokens aren't just abstract points, they can be used in the future, and that's what we're aiming for as part of the loyalty programs, subscriptions, or payments within the ecosystem. The two together solve the biggest issues of Web2, which is lack of trust and lack of user incentives. Blockchain provides the infrastructure for integrity, while crypto provides the fuel for engagement and growth. And AI, in that sense, helps us as we're training our AI Vasco. It helps the users get only those recommendations that they truly prefer to see based on what they've added to the map themselves. And later on, moving forward, we're also planning to integrate a feature aiming towards building a mini travel itinerary, which will help you create routes within daGama.
Very, very cool. So on the blockchain side, what exactly is put on chain? I'm a little confused. Are reviews put on chain, or is there some verification on chain? Because you described it as Web 2.5, which I think is great. A lot of projects use Web 3, and quite frankly, they don't really need to. But so anyway, sorry. What exactly are you using blockchain for, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, well, we've launched our NFT, so every single location can be minted as an NFT. Essentially, that is a collectible, and that's a proof of, proof that you've actually been to a certain place. So every single location that you can mint as an NFT. Yeah.
Right. Cool. Yeah. Those are awesome. All right, cool. Let's get back to these users and people who are kind of making reviews and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, how do you encourage users to contribute, meaningful content? How do you get them to make kind of high value reviews, not spammy, truthful? I think that's kind of maybe a major problem with Web 2 platforms.
That's a crucial question, David, because as you've rightly mentioned, incentives only work if they're structured correctly. First, our multi-level anti-fake system uses a mix of AI, blockchain, and community moderation to filter out lower value or suspicious content. If a post doesn't meet standards, it won't generate rewards and will be removed from the platform. Second, rewards are tied to quality, not quantity. Authentic, useful recommendations that the community engages with earn more. So spam or copy-pasted content is naturally filtered out because it won't get validated, right? And third, as I've mentioned, looking ahead, that's part of our monetization strategy moving forward as we're working towards point of sale integrations with hospitality systems. That means a review could be verified against a real transaction, making it even harder to post something false. All of these ensure that contributing honestly is the most rewarding path, while trying to game the system simply doesn't pay.
Very cool. When I listen to this, then you would be focused on certain regions first, perhaps like certain countries or certain areas, or maybe even certain places with languages, or is it just, are you kind of broadly globally have this platform working? That is to say, are you focused on one area, or are you kind of accepting reviews everywhere in the world right now?
Our vision is global, but we know adoption happens city by city, community by community. So far, we've built a strong early traction in regions like MENA and Asia, where both travel culture and crypto adoption are high. Our initial priority is vibrant hospitality hubs, cities where people are constantly looking for authentic dining and cultural experiences, where local businesses are eager to connect with real customers. At the same time, daGama works just as well for locals as for travelers, so we are focusing on markets where locals are active contributors, because local insights are often the most authentic and most valuable. In the long run, our goal is to, no matter where you are in the world, when you want a trustworthy recommendation, you open daGama.
Right. This reminds me of something earlier you said. You said that, so you're talking about locals and how important their reviews are, recommendations. You said that check-ins would be physically. You have to physically do the check-in. What does that mean exactly? Like, so for example, how would I prove that I'm a local in this situation?
So we're on the same page. What I mean by that is, if you don't have to be local to do the check-in, right? My message is that nobody knows the place better than the locals, and that's actually how the story initially started, right? So after a couple of disappointing experiences, just go up to a local guy, and if you build a good connection, he will show you all the best spots where you don't have to overpay, where what you're expecting is something that will truly happen for you. But in terms of the check-in verification, for example, what we have built in right now is if the post is good and liked by the community, but it's not check-in verified, you will get, let's say, 15 tokens or 15 points. But if it's verified and you've actually done the check-in, then you get 50 points. So that promotes, you passing the multi-level anti-fake system and doing your check-in verification, and other users can also see, okay, the review looks good, I want to try out that place, but that review hasn't been verified via check-in. I hope that makes sense.
I see. It does make sense. It does make sense. And I'm assuming that check-in verification is like through GPS or something like that, or some system that can actually tell your. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also, while you were talking, one way to kind of like infer someone if someone is a local or not is like, for example, myself. I live in Tokyo. If I have a lot of highly rated recommendations in Tokyo, you could probably assume that I'm local to Tokyo. By that nature. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
For sure.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. So I have one last question for you, and it's about adoption, and I was wondering if you could just tell me what you think is like the hardest part about getting this kind of project getting adoption for this kind of thing.
That's a really, really good question, David. I think the hardest part is to actually onboard businesses. That is the hardest part, because at the end of the day, monetization comes from the business, because down the line, our goal is to generate revenue from the transactions between the user and the business, because we are not taking any money essentially for paid ads, but a certain percentage of the check. Let's say you ate in New York for $100, and we would take, let's say, $5 commission from the check. So that is the hardest part, but we are working towards it. Obviously, we've gone a long way. We've been through so much over the past couple of years, but I'm confident that we will achieve that. I don't want to spoiler too much, but right now we're testing our case on one location. Once we prove, and I'm sure that we will prove that it works, then we can expand to different locations with our already proven case, and that would be a huge stepping stone for our future success.
Very cool. I mean, this goes back to what I was saying earlier about incentives, and I feel like that is a much cleaner incentive where all the different parties are aligned. The user, the business, and the kind of location, the reputation system yourself. All those incentives seem to line up to me, and that makes a lot of sense. Cool. Well, thank you so much, Gabriel. Do you have any last words or anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap this up?
Yeah, I'd like to inform you guys that we are actively working towards our TGE, which is happening on the 25th of September. We've launched our app on iOS and Android and already passed 70,000 downloads, and we have more than 300,000 wallets connected. On the partnership side, we're working with some incredible projects, which is Arbitrum, Sui, Monad, OKX Wallet. We've done our security audit with Certic. Media and community recognition have also been so strong. We've had coverage in more than 20 outlets, including Cointelegraph, Being Crypto, Bitcoin.com as well. So stay tuned for updates. As I've mentioned, we have a huge momentum.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, for me, I think I went into this interview, I did some research on what you were talking about, I mean, what your project is, but really the thing that I got from this interview, though, that just instantly resonated is how broken the kind of these recommendation services are. Just because, I mean, I use them all the time, right? I go traveling to conferences all the time, and man, I would say more often than not, they do not give good recommendations. And I just took that to be kind of a problem of me. Like my search kung fu is not good. But the way that you're talking about this is like, oh wait, maybe it's not me. Maybe it's just how how it's kind of it's kind of devolved to. So that was a pretty big kind of switch of frame of reference for me, and so I hope that you guys are really successful, because I want to be able to go to a new city or go to a new place and not have to get, what did you call it, banner blindness, and end up at some place that's just like a tourist trap, and not what I want. And I really genuinely want that, and I'm not getting that right now with the services I use. So all the best, man.
Absolutely, yeah, appreciate it, David. Thank you so much. And we are also working towards integrating. You know how you have different side events in Luma when you're going to Token 2049, for instance,
Yeah.
or any other crypto event. We are working with different projects and adding a page similarly to what Luma does for side events and their ratings, etc. And in terms of what you've just mentioned about, disappointment and reviews, you know how many times I've seen a place that has like 4.0 rating and it's so much better than, let's say, 4.7. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it just
Interesting.
it really just comes down to how much a certain business is willing to pay to get promoted on certain review platforms, or at the same time, how much is your competitor willing to pay to completely destroy you.
Yeah, man. So I really really wish you all the best, and I am definitely gonna check out your mobile app, because again, for people who travel like me, we need a better alternative for sure.